Greetings and welcome back to the Aspiring Home Cook. My name is Trisha and today I'm going to share with you one of my favorite recipes for a vegan chili. This is a meatless recipe. It's packed full of flavor and so very easy to make. So without any further delay, let's dive straight into the recipe. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel and click that bell to get notified about new videos. I'm going to start off by using a large pot on some medium heat. In goes about a spoonful of oil. To this, I'm going to add half a large onion that I've finely chopped, half a green capsicum, 1 carrot, and ideally a stick of celery that's all finely chopped down. I forgot to add celery to my shopping list last week, and so I had to make do with what was in the fridge. But that's what you do, right? You have to make it work. So start off with the onion, and I'm going to gently saute this. We don't want to develop any color. We're just trying to sweat this down and soften the onion and start the cooking process. Once the onions have started to soften, I'm going to add in the capsicum, the carrot, and the celery. Stir everything through well and you're going to let these veggies sweat. I typically cook this somewhere between 5 to 10 minutes. What I'm looking for is the vegetables to start cooking, to sweat a little and to soften just a little bit. Remember, there's a lot of cooking yet to come. This stage helps you develop all of those beautiful flavors and has to be done on a medium heat. If you're cooking this on a high heat, you will brown the vegetables, and that's not what we're going for at this stage. Don't forget to stir this mix every once in a while, just to make sure that it's not sticking to the bottom of the pan. Once the vegetables have softened down a bit, add in 1 teaspoon of garlic paste. You can also use freshly chopped garlic, whatever you have available. Stir that through and let that garlic cook off for a little bit and infuse flavor into the other vegetables. We're now going to start adding our spices. I'm using a couple of different types of chili here. Feel free to use what you have on hand. I'm starting with 1 teaspoon of a mild red chili powder. And to this, I'm going to add just a touch of some cayenne pepper. This is the extra hot kind, so make sure that you're using this to taste. I'm going to add in just about 1/8 of a teaspoon to hit it with a slight hint of spice. And you're going to need smoked paprika. I'm using about 1.5 teaspoons of smoked paprika. This will give it a beautiful flavor, so try and get your hands on some smoked paprika. To this, I'm going to add about 1 teaspoon of cumin powder, 1 teaspoon of oregano, and I'm going to stir this all up just to let those spices coat the vegetables. Remember to keep a check on the heat level here. You don't want those spices to burn. Now to this, I'm going to add some passata. I'm adding about a cup of passata. You can also use a can of diced tomatoes if that's what you have on hand. I've used that in the past as well. With your diced tomatoes, you tend to get little chunks of the tomatoes running through your chili, so you can decide which of the two you prefer. Stir that through well. And we're just going to let this tomato cook down for a minute or two. We're going to continue building up those flavors. Into the pot, I'm just adding 1 teaspoon of vegetable stock powder. You can choose to use a liquid stock version if you've got that on hand. Ideally, I would mix this in with some warm water and prepare that liquid stock, but this way works just as easily and it eliminates a process. To this, I'm going to add a little bit of salt to taste. Remember that your stock will also have a little bit of seasoning in there, so adjust your salt level accordingly. Next, we're going to pop in a very special ingredient. Yes, I'm going to add a little bit of Vegemite to the pot. This will help deepen those flavors. I'm using about 1 teaspoon of Vegemite. Stir everything through really well. Now, what happens if you don't have access to Vegemite? You can also choose to use Marmite if that's what you have access to. You can leave it out if you're in a pinch, but I would highly recommend adding that Vegemite or Marmite because it does make a difference in the end result. You can't distinctly taste the Marmite or Vegemite if that's what you're worried about, but oh my gosh, the flavor that it lends to the dish is phenomenal. I'm going to add water from a recently boiled kettle. I'm starting off with about 1 liter of water and I'm going to mix everything through just to make sure that that stock powder, the Vegemite, everything is nicely dissolved. Let the pot come to a boil Then add in your beans. You can use a mix of beans. Kidney beans work well, black beans work really well. A mix of them is also really good. Today I'm just going to use some kidney beans that I had soaked overnight and boiled till they're just about cooked. They're not completely cooked at this stage, but they will continue cooking in this beautiful flavorsome broth that we've just put together. I've used about 2 cups of beans. You can also choose to use canned beans. However, if you're using canned beans, I would recommend letting your stock simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes before adding the beans. This will prevent them from getting too mushy towards the end. Now, at this point, we're going to let everything come to a boil once again. Turn the heat down to a simmer, pop a lid on, and you're going to let this cook away for about 20 minutes. Remember to check on this a couple of times during that process and stir everything through just to make sure nothing's sticking to the bottom of the pan. After the 20 minutes has passed, carefully open that pot up. We're giving everything a good stir just to make sure everything has mixed through. At this point, it's a good idea to check for seasoning and add salt as required. And this is when I add the corn to the pot. I'm just using frozen corn here. You can use fresh corn kernels if that's what you have on hand. Add 1 teaspoon of sugar. Give everything a good stir, and we're going to let this continue cooking for about another 10 minutes on a simmer just to let the corn heat through and cook up as well. After letting it simmer for about those 10 minutes, your chili is now ready. I don't dry my chili out completely at this stage because it will thicken up a little as it cools and after reheating and as it stands as well. So I make sure to leave a little bit of that stock in there. Of course, this is a matter of preference, and you can let a little more of that liquid cook off if that's how you like your chili. Now I'm going to top this up with just a little bit of chopped coriander, and I'm ready to take that pot of chili off the heat. Serve up your chili when it's nice and hot. It's a beautiful, hearty, warming dish, especially on a cold, wet day. Personally, I can eat this any time of the year. And today I'm going to show you how I like to serve mine up. It's the toppings and the add-ins that make a lot of difference to your bowl of chili. So I start by ladling some of that beautiful chili into a bowl. Add a couple of tablespoons of coconut yogurt here, a little bit of some chili flakes. I'm going to add a little more sliced jalapeno to the dish because we love that flavor, the crunch, and that slightly different heat that the fresh jalapeno brings to the dish. I'm adding in a little avocado to the bowl. Sprinkle over some freshly chopped coriander. Yes, this dish needs it. And don't feel shy, don't skimp on it. It adds so much more flavor and freshness to this bowl of chili. We're going to season that avocado with some salt. I'm going to squeeze some fresh lemon over the avocado as well as my chili. I love serving my chili up with some freshly baked cornbread. In my next video, I'm going to share with you the recipe for my easy vegan jalapeno cornbread. That is an absolute stunner. And that's it, guys. You've got a beautiful meal in that bowl right there. The flavors work together beautifully. That yogurt cuts through the spice and adds a little bit of a cooling effect. That cornbread helps you soak up all that lovely broth that's so full of flavor. And all in all, this is just such a joy of a meal. I do hope you give this recipe a try. I'm sure you're going to love it. I will leave a link to the complete written recipe down in the description box below. Don't forget to share this video with family and friends that you think might enjoy it too. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm going to see you really soon with another delicious recipe. So till then, take care. Bye.